Welcome to Fresh Perspectives, a series with professionals who have insights. And today I'm with Steve West of Lightful, who is People Director at Lightful, a tech organization who have helped over 2,000 charities across 80 different countries. And Steve is very passionate about the subject of flexibility. Let's go straight there, Steve. Why flexibility?
Good morning, John. Thank you for having me. I think for me, flexibility is important in the workplace because I've personally experienced, as I'm sure most people have, what it feels like to work in an environment where you don't have flexibility and you don't have control. And I think the idea of flexibility means so many different things to so many different people. I think it's a really high impact area that can be very unique to each person. So for me, it's a bit of an obvious area to try to make significant gains on for the benefit of all staff rather than just a small pocket of people.
Right. And what led you to this realization?
It's a multitude of things. I think, again, personal experience and being in a position now where I can affect change at a meaningful strategic level. I'm a big fan of data, Culture Amp surveys, Culture Amp's the platform we use, employee engagement surveys. I've suggested that there's more that we could do internally in respect of control and flexibility, that it would be received well by our staff. And of course, everything you read these days post-pandemic, flexibility is being talked about significantly, whether it be, having a hybrid way of working or anything else from a process perspective, etc. So it's a bit of a hot topic and one that people look for these days when they're considering new employers.
Indeed. And a hot topic that's also experiencing a certain amount of pushback.
It is.
I've just heard about a bank last week who have actually put a stop to compressed working, for example. They will pay for that.
Yeah, there's many examples like that at the moment. Yeah,
indeed. What's the case for flexibility? What's the business case?
In our scenario, what we have managed to achieve is to bring about meaningful change that has an impact for everybody. So we've introduced a variety of different things, and I'm not saying for a second that all of those things benefit everybody completely. However, the approach we've taken ensures that there is something for everybody. So the impact that you get from introducing flexibility and really opening it up to what is the art of the possible, rather than limiting yourself to, we're going to be flexible and we're going to allow X person or X department to do whatever it might be. Really starting from a blank sheet of paper and saying, what could we actually do here if we pushed this as far as we possibly could? Has allowed us to be able to find something for everybody. And we have seen a huge increase in terms of the data that we analyze. So we launched in September our initiative called Lightful Flex. And we did another survey as recently as April. And we saw double-digit increases on about 12 or 13 different questions that directly relate to trust, engagement, empowerment, flexibility, well-being. So really, really significant improvements. And some of that stuff, for me personally, there's one element that I use more than others, but for other people, they probably don't use that and they take advantage of something else that we've afforded them as part of this initiative.
Can you give some examples of the things that you are flexible about or flexible on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the most obvious one is that piece we just talked about lots of employers and organizations mandating, X number of days in the office a week. We are a remote organization. We work from home by default, but we do have an office. And our approach to this is that we let people use it if they want to. We don't force anybody in on X days a week or a month even. We do have quarterly gatherings where we bring people together for a specific purpose, but the purpose behind those gatherings is what's important. If people want to go in because they want to socialize with friends after work, if they have a particular team event they want to do, fine, it's there. If they want to be at home, it's absolutely fine. So it's about choice and flexibility. Secondly, I think the biggest one, and this is the one that I take advantage of, is, and in fact, it's how we connected with each other a few months ago, is about bookable annual leave. Bookable bank holidays. So we have a pretty generous annual leave entitlement, but we all know historically we've had 9 this year actually bank holidays, and people never had any choice, rarely had choice and flexibility in how they work them. So we have taken the approach where we give everybody this year 9 extra bookable days annual leave because of the bank holidays. If they want to take the bank holiday off, they simply book it off. If they don't, so for instance, if they believe they want to work through Easter because they celebrate Eid with their family, and so they want to utilize that annual leave at that period of time, fine. So not only is it flexible, but it's more inclusive in terms of the DEI approach of the organization as well, which is really important for us as an organization, as a values-driven organization. There's a variety of other things as well. We allow people to work from anywhere in the UK because we're remote, but we also allow people, subject to certain rules and criteria and approvals, to work from abroad for a limited period of time, up to 3 months. And we've had people working from South Africa, from Greece, from the Canary Islands, from Singapore, Italy. I've probably forgotten a few, but it's been really, really well received, that one. So yeah, I mean, there's another 2 or 3 different things as well that we do. But we, as I say, we started from a position of what's the art of the possible. Let's not limit this to what we think are the obvious things. Let's consider everything and see how it will be received. And it was received amazingly, even at launch.
Now, I would imagine that most people listening to this would be on board with flexible working, but let's assume that there might be a non-believer somewhere who might say, and I'm trying to imagine their voice here for a moment, who might say something like, yeah, that's all very well, Steve, but look, our business revolves around collaboration, revolves around people being together in order to be productive, etc. And frankly, this just opens up the door to all kinds of people who are prioritizing their lifestyle over their productivity. I'm trying to imagine what they might say. What's your answer?
I think it's about trust. I think if you hire the right people and you have the right organizational culture with the right leadership, and if you trust your staff to do the right thing by themselves, because employee well-being is a very, very hot topic and very important feature these days, as we all know. Always has been, but it's certainly gaining more openness and more discussion now, rightly so. I think if you have the right people in the right environment, I think those things can be found solutions to. We need to collaborate. We're a collaboration organization. There's no doubt about that. But if you have the right technology and you have the right attitude from the staff and from your management team and from your leadership team that lead by example on these things, there are solutions to be found. I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm certainly not saying every organization can do what we can do. But we weren't sure that we could either. So we tried it and it's worked.
Okay. Well, I've heard at least 3 different strands to the mix, apart from the flexibility piece. I've heard the word trust very clearly. I've also heard the word technology quite clearly, because obviously the ability to collaborate might involve being a bit of a grown-up in the digital world in order to do that. But also you have earlier talked about autonomy. Particularly when you talk about the bookable bank holidays, etc. It's like, to what extent do you see your people as being autonomous versus command and control? Definitely. I want to be breathing down your neck every half an hour to make sure you're working.
Yeah, I think it comes back to the trust point though, actually, because we also have core hours, for instance. So if you're a morning person and you like to get up and do your exercise, but you don't want to get up at 6, because you can start work at 10. So you don't have to have that early bird kind of mentality to school run, whatever it might be. So there's trust there as well, in the sense of you'll do the right thing by the organization and you as well. So if, for instance, whilst we have the core hours, because of the time zones with clients in other parts of the world sometimes, if they have a 9:30 meeting outside of core hours, we know that they're going to do the right thing and they're going to attend that meeting. They're not going to work to rule and go, I'm not starting until 10 because it's my choice. So we just trust people to do the right thing. But again, it does go back to having strong recruitment processes, being a values-driven organization, and finding the right people who complement your organization, the values of your organization and your culture.
Very clear, Steve. Very clear. What a great note to finish on. It really does come back to the values that underpin the culture.
Definitely, yeah.
Thanks for joining me today and illustrating the case for flexibility.
Thank you for having me, John. Great to talk to you.